not there's no any other company in the whole world that is doing what we do. And what we do is that, like I said, when you want to buy property, when you want to invest in property, we are the only company where, when like the minute you start to the minute you finish, you don't have to go anywhere else. And like I was saying, we have YDT home loans, we have YDT financial advisors, we have YDT real estate agents, and we have YDT financial advisors, we have YDT property development. So we can help you with things such as selling your property. If you want to buy property, we can help you. Your property management, renovations, or extensions. Nozipho Dlali, as our partner, allows us to help you with transfer attorneys or any other conveyancing needs you may have. We also have YDT. We can also help you with insurance. We can help you with even your credit record rehabilitation. So like I said, we are the only one-stop property shop in the whole world. With that, I just really want to welcome everyone. Other people will be joining, and I'll keep admitting them. However, at this stage, I want to give over to Mr. Abela Dlali, who is our CEO. Thank you so much. Welcome once again.
Thank you very much, Madam T, for introducing and ushering in YDT Group. And I want to welcome everyone for joining us today. Today we have one of the very, very interesting topics. Today we are discussing on how you can use your excess bond. How you can use your excess bond to grow your property portfolio. Without any further ado, if you allow me to immediately share a screen with you so that we can go straight to it. There we have it. Hallelujah. There you have it. Now, every week, 12:30, we come together to share some insight, ideas, information on how we can build your property portfolio. More especially during this time, but we have tailored all our content from now onwards to it's in such a format that you can be able to continue using it beyond the lockdown and even for generations to come. Of course, things change. We will keep working with those changes as things change. But as it is now, this is where we are now. Now, for those who have just joined us, maybe have missed our previous webinars, please go to our YouTube channel. It's called YDT Group, and subscribe there and watch some content. We have recorded all the previous webinars for you to catch up so that you can understand and watch at your own convenience. Now, we have picked up some couple of topics previously. We always just try to touch base so that everybody can understand. We help anybody and everyone at YDT Group. If you have an income and you would like to earn property, or you have some money, then you would like to own property and build up your property portfolio, we are here to assist you. We assist you with what in terms of you just want to buy a home, you want to invest in property, you want to build a property portfolio, you want to flip property, others call it speculators, you want to buy and sell, you want to any property investment related, we are able to assist you. And now, what then we had said previously that the best deal are what we call the day one asset, because we have established that a property in itself is generally not an asset. Yes, in terms of accounting, the columns and the lawyers, when they do your estate, they put it under assets. But while you are alive and running your things, a property is not automatically an asset. It's only the property that is giving you income that we call an asset. Where you are staying is a liability because it is taking money out of your pocket as it is now. It's only the ones that are giving you income. And the day one asset we've declared is the property that gives you profit from the first day that you own the property. It makes money, meaning whatever comes in exceeds all your expenses that you have to incur on that property. Now, last week, in ushering in today's topic, last week, we touched on how can I pay my bond faster. Now, some of the pointers in today's topic we'll start by covering from last week's points because they go hand in hand. We cannot be able to jump the gun. We cannot be able to have anybody not understand what we were doing last week. So you will see the next 2-3 slides at the beginning will be slides catching up on a summary from last week because it is almost like a continuation, though it is not necessarily the same content, but it is a build-up from last week so that we understand it. This is the scenario we made last week. We say YDT Real Estate Agents, which is one of the companies in YDT Group, is assisting Yabela Valley to buy a 3-bedroom and 2-bathrooms apartment, 1.2 million in a safe suburb for his family. Applying for a home loan as pre-qualified by YDT Home Loans, which is what we do in our one-stop property shop. So I'm going to go through faster on the things that we had done last week so that we just get everybody up to speed. And then the outcome, he was approved 100% home loan, meaning there was no deposit required, and it was approved for 1.2 million, which was the purchase price, and for over 20 years, which is 240 months, and with an interest rate of 7.75, meaning it's prime plus 0.5 because currently prime rate is 7.25, and then the bank initiation fees were already included into the home loan, but we just wrote the value thereof of 6,038. And then we also, the outcome, he is now going to pay 9,995 cents. Okay, we touched on the home loan amortization. In other words, how is it going to work? And for the people that were not there, so that we do it this again for the sake, so that we do not leave anybody behind. We said here, if you please follow the red laser, we said the monthly installment is 9,995 for a 1.2 million rent property. And then we had said 9,851. Now I'm just going to summarize it, but we had worked it out to say the difference, which is 49 rents or 40 something rents between 9,900 and 9,841, goes towards paying the bank and the bond initiation fees. So we only are focusing on the amount that is going straight into the home loan repayment itself. Not admin fees, not nothing. So that's what explains the difference in the figures. And then we had said the interest rate on the first month on 1.2 million, the interest rather was 7,750. So meaning from the 9,851, 7,750 was going towards interest. Only 2,101 was going towards reducing the capital reduction to reduce the main debt of 1.2 million, which means the balance then was 1,197,899 after the first month. And then you check on the second month, the same payment, which then would mean the interest is less because the interest for the first month, the 771 was 7.75% off 1.2 million. Now the interest here for this one, it is less because it is worked out on the previous month's balance. I need you to understand this because we're going to be dwelling on it a lot. So the interest here, that's why it is less by 14 rand because it was calculated on this balance. And so it goes on. On month 3, the interest will be less again because it will be calculated from this balance. And you see the lesser the interest, that means that 14 rand came over to this side, and then in turn it took up the amount to pay the capital higher, so that now instead of only reducing the capital with 2,100 in month 1, the following month is 2,115 rand. So there is that movement. Okay, now we then move over, we looked at it, we saw the difference, we worked out all the difference in the repayment processes. Now, when we said, let's go back, repayments here at the top left, the repayment we had said is 9,995 cents. And then the service fee, which is now the bank fee to service the home loan every month, was 69 rand. Now, the total monthly repayment, so which means then the amount that gets deducted rather from your debit order, from your stop order, from your salary advice or payslip at work would be 9,969. Now, remember, we had said we're only working with 9,851 because the 69 rand of the 9,969 rand and 5 cents goes towards service fee, and then the other 41 rand goes towards the bond initiation fee. So we still are going to, so don't be confused when we look at the total amount. But later on, we will go back to the actual amount yet again. All right. Now, when then we have a look here, again, your monthly repayment. So we created 3 possible options on repaying this bond. We had said option 1 is when you add 772 rand 65 cents, and this was the equivalent of the interest rate towards the home loan. In other words, the interest rate that Yabela is being charged by Bank X is 7.75%. So now this is 7.75% of the 9,900. So we decided, okay, let's pay an extra interest towards this. And then we moved on to say, what if we pay double the extra interest, meaning 772 multiplied by 2. So you get this amount. So your monthly repayment becomes 11,000. And then so on it goes. But then the main one that we looked at and we're going to focus on the most today is that the monthly repayment, you pay double than what is expected. And this is what we were looking at the most. Now, when you look at paying double than what is expected, you end up paying 19,939. Now, we had also said that what type of people can, in general now, manage to do this, or how can you be able, in a position, set yourself up in such a good place where you can be able to pay double what is expected of you. We had said, 1, if you are then buying an investment property and you are having tenants in the property and you can still be able to pay the monthly bond from your account, you simply take the income, you pay the bond, and you also pay from your pocket. Then that is one of the easiest ways, and then you pay double. And we also said that for people, normally what people do is that they want to check how much I qualify for before they take a bond. At YDT, we work differently. We first have a discussion and a consultation with you to understand your plan, your vision, your what are you planning to do in terms of your property portfolio. And then we go in terms of what you need as basic needs in terms of the property you want to live in if you are buying for a property where you're going to stay. So we focus on what you want, the minimum basic requirements. So in this instance, Yabela wanted just a 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in a nice, comfortable area where I can be okay. However, we just to bring to your attention, that you can also, for the same house specifications, meaning 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, you can even pay as much as up to 2.5 million in Bloemfontein in general in the northern suburbs for the same specifications. So we then advise based on what is necessary. So in this instance, we were saying to Yabela, you don't really need luxury right now because you want to buy other properties in the future for investment purposes. So therefore, we are not going to go for a 2 million property, though you qualify for it. We are only going to go for 1.2 because it ticks all the boxes. It is safe. It's a good neighborhood. It is closer to amenities. You are able to get to everywhere. You feel safe. So we will not go to the max so that we can use the 800 that is remaining as a difference for you to then be able to start building your property portfolio. Now, it then becomes easy for Yabela to pay double as well while he's looking at other property portfolios, or rather at other properties before he purchases those. You can pay double because now you only spent less than what you afford and what you qualify for, and even what you budgeted. So now those are the people that can also be able to pay more on the bond. Of course, you do not have to choose only from these 3 options of paying double the bond or double the interest rate or the interest rate extra. You can pay even half extra of the 9,900. You can pay 4,500. You can pay close to 5,000. You can pay any amount that you want to pay extra, but we chose these for the sake of example. Now, we just also highlighted to check so that everybody can see what are the benefits and what are the differences when you do that. Now, if you go further down, you will see here, the initial loan amount is the same. Total interest that you will be charged. If you just pay what the bank expects you will be charged 1.1 million extra as interest. So you'll almost be paying double what your initial home loan was when it's time to pay your bond after 20 years. Here, you only get charged 900,000 interest. 822,000. All of a sudden, the interest has become very low. You only get charged 329,000 interest. All right, and then you save interest of 840,000, and then the total service fees you also save. So we're also highlighting that not only do you save on interest, not only do you save on many things, you also save on admin fee, on service fee. Remember, you're paying 69 Rand of service fee every month. So when you finish quicker, you also save on those fees. Okay, and then the total amount that you end up paying, if you pay what the bank expects you end up paying 2.3, close to 2.4 million, which is almost double than the purchase price that Yabela has bought this property for. And here you pay 2.1, 2 million. All of a sudden you pay 1.5 million. So you're only paying 341,000. 329,000 rather, as extra as it is indicated above. Now, the other benefit, of course, you get to finish quicker. Here, on the one where you pay double, you save 162 months out of the 240 months. Remember, we had said he's approved for 20 years, which is 240 months. So you get to save that as well. Now, when we then move on to the next slide, I hope everybody is keeping up with us and understanding where we are now. Okay, then we move on to the next slide, which then we get to see in a form of a graph how this then was worked out. There it is, the difference in years. We then saw that in the graphs, the blue one is the one that then shows that you have taken the full 20 years at the bottom line, horizontal. It is 240 months, which is 20 years. This time, this side is the amount of money that we are paying into the bond. Now, the blue line is the one where you stick to what the bank expects of you. When you pay a percentage of your interest rate equivalent extra, when you pay double the percentage of your interest rate equivalent extra, when you pay double the installment that you're expected to pay extra, then it becomes, all of a sudden, you end up only spending 78 months, which is equivalent to 6.5 years. Now that is fully established, we now can then be able to then discuss today's thing. Now, however, before we go there, I would like everybody to ask questions. Over back to you, Madam Tiamo, so that everybody can ask questions and so that we can see if we are on the same page before we get to the deeper things of the day. Over to you, Tiamo.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I don't see any questions so far in the participant box. However, I want to allow everyone right now at this stage, if they have any question, they're welcome to lift up their hand or go to the comment section to ask your question quickly. Okay. And if I'm missing someone.
Okay.
And if I'm missing someone, there's no one right now. We can continue.
100%. Good. That means then we have more time to cover the points. Okay. All right. Now, we also touched a little bit on this slide. We said what happens now to the extra money. Now, the extra money goes into what the banks call access bond. If you have asked for the bank to create it, you are automatically ahead of your bond monthly payments. You, of course, get to pay off your home loan quicker. Now, I said if you have accepted the bank to give you an access bond, what does that then mean, or what am I implying with that? What I'm saying is, with an access bond is a facility that most banks have. However, you have to, ask the bank to give you that facility within your home loan, or rather what we call a bond. So an access bond does not come automatically with your home loan. Sometimes the consultants or people that are helping you to apply for a home loan already open it automatically. At YDT, we always do it automatically for our clients. We always give them an access bond facility so that they can be able to grow as they are going forward in their portfolio. All right, now we go next. What is the definition of access bond? It is a type of a home loan that allows borrowers who have paid extra money into their bond to access the extra money should they need it for any reason whatsoever. Now, that's why it's called an access bond, because you can have access to it at any given time that you pay the money extra. To make a practical, simple example, it is the same as a credit card. When you have a credit card and your limit is 10,000, when you have used 5,000, you can at any time, even at an ATM, go and withdraw the extra 5,000, right? So an access bond, it is like that. The only difference is there is no bank card attached to it. So you will have to go online or see your banker, but at any given time, you can have access to your access bond. So that is basically the simple, straightforward definition for it. Now, how does it work? Okay, the next two slides, we're going to dwell on them. So you can take your pictures, focus, take a pen, pencil, write down your questions as well, so that when you open up for Q&A, you are able then to remember the question that you wanted to ask. Now, how does it work? All right, please follow the red laser. On a monthly basis, this is the expectation. You're expected to pay 9851. Remember now, just as a reminder, from your bank, there will be 9969 deducted. But we are only focusing on what goes directly into your home loan, not the service fees, not what pays the bank initiation fee that we had already included. So this 9851, it is the same amount we used in our example earlier on when we were doing the amortization. So let's work only with this figure. Now the bank expects you to pay 9851. But because you have a plan, your plan is to pay double. Okay, now we are using that example. You are paying double. Now, double this is this, 19,702. Now, when you then pay double on a monthly basis, this is the plan and what is expected. Now, this is what actually happens. I need you to understand this. What actually happens is you pay this amount, but this is how it goes. It is the 951 that goes, which is expected, that goes to the actual repayment. The other 9851 is deemed then as an extra payment towards your home loan. Now, before we go any further, there is a very crucial point that I would like to add today in terms of these payments. You can pay this money once off. As the bank deducts, you can then choose to pay extra. Or later on, which is what then the banks also recommend mostly, is that you then pay at a later date. And this is a strategy that will help you. Remember now, if we go back, I'm not going to go back on the presentation for the sake of time and slides. If we go back, the interest that was charged, you were charged interest based on the previous month's balance. The first month's interest, I had said, was charged for 1.2 million, and you were paying 7,750 on interest. The following month, you were paying 7,736 because the interest for the following month was charged on the balance. Because out of the 9,000, only 2,101 rand went towards the to reduce your capital debt. Now, what happens is that there's a specific date that each bank calculates interest. Now, it is then upon you to check on your bond statement that you get every month, preferably request it via email. Of course, number one, to save paper, you are a good citizen. And secondly, you can easily have access to it. Even any time that you are sitting down with a Yabela Dale from YDT Group to discuss your property portfolio, you can easily access it on your email. or anytime you are doing your calculations, you can easily access it on your email. Now, you will then be able to see on the trend of your bank that they, for an example, let's now go with this example that we have, this scenario that we have here. Let's say now Yabela is paying his monthly bond every month at the end of the month. That is his debit date because he gets his salary at the end of every month. Now, then I go check as Yabela on my statement. Then I realize, no man, the banks actually calculate my bank, which is Bank X, calculates my interest on the 15th of every month. Okay? Now, what then you do? At the end of the month, Yabela, I pay my normal installment. Though my plan is going to pay double, but I pay my normal installment at the end of May. Now I'm looking at June. The next deduction date is the end of June. However, because I've already seen that my bank, Bank X, is deducting, or rather is calculating their interest that they're going to charge me at the end of June, but they calculate it on the 15th of June. Then what then I do? I then do not pay that amount at the same time as I paid them the installment. I pay this one on the 13th or the 14th of June, the extra amount. I pay it on the 13th and the 14th or the 14th of June. Why am I doing that? Remember, we had said they calculate the interest on the current balance. So when I pay extra, let's say now the balance was the previous one, which was 1,100,000 and help me now with figures that were there in the screen. Let's just say 1.2 million. Let's just say 1.2 million, okay? Now that was the balance before this debit. And they calculated their interest. And I paid month end. And then only 2,100 went towards the repayment. And then before they calculate my interest on the 15th of June, I paid this extra amount on the 14th of June. That means then the total debt will then have reduced again, just before they do the calculation of the interest. So that means then my interest will be lesser. That means then there's out of the extra amount, more of it will be going towards the capital repayment. I hope we're together. I will try and repeat it. Here, you pay this at the normal date that you're expected to pay. You pay this a day or two, the extra amount, whichever extra amount it is, for the sake of this exercise, we're using this amount. You pay your extra amount at a day or two before they calculate your interest. Because when they calculate interest, they calculate it at the balance at the time they're calculating interest. So when you've paid it just before that time, then it means then the total balance is even less. So that means the interest they're calculating is less. Meaning, if then you go with this scenario of paying double, you remember with the example we had said, you are then only going to end up paying 359,000 interest out of the whole duration of 6.5 years. When you do apply that strategy as well, you then end up paying even lesser interest because by the time they calculate the interest, you've reduced the capital. So your compounding interest is not compounding that much against you. In fact, it's not even really compounding because you are really reducing it very fast. Okay, that's the actual amount you pay. Now, what happens is then, this is where then it goes, this is the result. Now, that 7,750 goes to the interest on that first month, that 2,100 goes to the reduction, and then the rest of the money goes, all of it, towards the reduction of the bond. Because you paid it after the interest was calculated, after you have reduced the bond with that 2,101 rand, now the whole 9,800 goes, all of it, to bond reduction. So meaning the balance now does not only drop by 2,100, it has dropped before they calculate interest by 9,800. That is why when you pay double the installment, it does not take half the time. Normally, when you pay double something, you expect it to take half the time. But in this instance, when you pay double your installment, it will only take 6.5 years, not 10 years. because of this, because your capital reduces faster than when you would pay it normally. And secondly, which is the topic for the day, it then builds up your access bond quicker. So your access bond, what then happens is you only pay, it is the bank does it internally. You don't have to tell the bank. You only pay it to one account, which is your bond account or your home loan. Then the bank system, because you've got the access bond facility, it then distributes the funds accordingly. Now, you pay into the same amount, to the same account rather, sorry. I paid on the 15th, rather on month end when I was expected to. Now I paid on the 14th, the day before they could calculate my interest. Now, when I pay there, what then the bank does internally, they take what is expected and they throw it into what they call a current account of the home loan, meaning what you currently owe, what you are currently running with. And then they take the extra amount automatically into the access bond, building the access bond itself. All right, I hope we all understand. Remember to note down your question, or you can put it on a comment section so that you don't forget it. Now, after then that is done, we then show you now how, I'm about now to show you how then do I use it. This money is there. I have built it. We've already answered the question to say I can access it at any given time. It is mine to use for whatever reason. Now, how do I use this money to build my property investment portfolio? Remember, that was the topic for the day. And this is the main slide. How do I use it? Now, let's take this as the excess bond now. We are taking that amount. We are only focusing on this now, the excess bond. So we are taking that amount and we are working on it. How then do I use that amount to finish it? Or rather, to grow my bond or my property investment portfolio faster. Now, you take that access bond amount on property one. This was all property one. So this was Yabella's property one, the first property. So now he then takes the access bond amount. This is after, like, should I say 4 years? He's almost close now to finishing this 1.2 million bond because he's been paying double for almost 4 years. Meaning, for the sake of this exercise, let's say now Yabella has got 600,000 in access bonds. That is on his account, in his home loans account. Now, what then happens is, I take the access bonds from property one. Remember, it's cash, I guess. Remember, I can take and do whatever I wish to do, so Alicia. Now I take that 600,000. I come and buy property two, and I don't buy it through a home loan, at least at the beginning. I then buy it cash. Now, there are a lot of benefits in buying cash. A lot when you buy. And I'm emphasizing when you buy. We'll talk about it after you buy. Because it gives you access to a lot of different types of properties you can buy, number one. Number two, speaking also as a seller in some instances, when a seller sells their property, there is a reason they are selling. Other sellers are more motivated than others with their reasons, and they need to sell the property faster. Others, it is just they are not really that motivated, but they want to sell. However, there is the time frame of transferring a property. We discussed in one of our previous webinars. Now, and that time frame is prolonged by a home loan. So the seller knows if you are buying through a home loan, it's going to make the process longer, even up to a month longer. But if you are buying cash, that means he can close this deal quicker, have access to his money faster, get the property out of his hands quicker, because sometimes he's selling because he wants to buy elsewhere. Get the property out of his names faster. Now, what then does that mean for you? That gives you an advantage to can negotiate the price for convenience. Now you are literally buying time for the seller because you've got cash. So cash buys you time in property. It is king, as it is said in any other business. So cash buys you time. That's why then when you've got that access bond, you use it to buy cash. You buy cash, and when you've got cash, the money normally sits, which is what we always recommend. I will never recommend for you to pay money into the seller directly. You are setting up yourself for trouble. Or you can pay to an estate agent's trust account. They also have a trust account, also have a fidelity fund certificate. However, I still recommend that you pay it over to the transferring attorney. Now, when you've paid that money over, you can also, or even before you pay, you can also start to negotiate with the seller because the money is here. It's a carrot in front of a rabbit, if I can put it like that. Now, you can say to the seller, please, can I have occupation before registration at no extra cost? Because when he's selling whatever reason, but he wants money at the end of the day. And I will arrange with the transferring attorney somehow that they may be advanced to something from the cash when the time is right. Because even though the money is paid in the transferring attorney's account, trust account, and the attorneys, it is still yours because the property is not yet registered. Though you cannot say, sorry, can I have my money back and cancel the transaction? At that stage, no, sorry, you cannot. Now, the same thing, the property belongs to the seller up until registration. Now, even though the seller cannot also cancel, neither can they sell it to somebody else. Now, what that means is you are the purchaser, you've released your money, the property is in the middle, the seller has sold the property, but none of them can have access to the other without the other party giving consent. Meaning you can't have access to the property without the seller giving consent before registration. The seller cannot have access to your money without you giving consent prior to registration. And the best person to facilitate this is the person who's holding both the money and the property at that point in time. Then you arrange with the attorney to say, Luz, can I move in without paying money? That is one of the benefits, paying extra money. The other benefits, you give the seller access to some of the money so that they can do what they need to do with the money so that then you understand. So there's a lot more benefits. It's endless. Again, that's another webinar again, but it is not really that much important in building a portfolio. It just helps you to know it's basically property techniques on how to access money before your property is transferred from a cash buyer. So because of all those benefits, you then can be able to drop the seller with a price. Instead of paying, now you've got 600,000 as Yabela, you can look for a property for 700,000, 650, 700,000, and possibly more, depending on the motivation of the seller and how low they can go. Now you offer the seller, they accept, you bought the property is registered from cash to income. This whole process, the property is registered in your names. Now you generate income with that property. You still have parted with your cash there. You continue to pay your double bonds there, your double payments on property one. So this property is bond free. After registration, you have your title deed in your hand. Now, remember last time I said title deeds are overrated? Yes, they are. However, I'll show you how now you can continue to use it to grow. Now you have that title deed in your hand. You only have one bond, but you have two properties. Property one, property two. You only have one bond. You were able to pay the first bond, so you continue to pay what you were paying. Now you've got the second property cash. The only thing you did was just to pay the first property faster. Now you've got an extra income on the second property, meaning you now can pay more than the 19,000 you are currently paying on property one. You can pay even more because now you've got income on property two. Argument's sake, let's say income, for the sake of this scenario, your income on the second property is 10,000, which by the way, you can get 10,000 income from a 700,000 property, depending what type of property where it is and whatnot, and we can assist you with that at YDT. Now, let's say your income is 10,000 on the second property. Now, you can pay 3 times on property one because you are paying double without this income on property two. Now you can pay 3 times to finish it quicker. to or to catch up with the access bond that you took out on property 1. All right. Now, for the sake of this exercise again, let's continue. Now you've got 3 monies that are coming in a sense that because you're paying 2, now you've got a third one. Now you go. It's either depending on your appetite or your speed, you can wait for the access bond to grow again and then jump up to property 3. Now you are only buying cash your properties from there onwards. Now, you can then also grow double. You just decide, all right, I'm now going to take another bond on property 2. Remember, property 2 can pay for itself now, right? Well, before you take the bond, you were paying that extra income that was coming here, from here, you were paying it there on the access bond. Now, you then are taking a bond on property 2 that was paid up or that was bought cash. You take a bond. Remember, you bought a 700,000 property with 600,000. Meaning, you can take a bond of 700,000 because the income is 10,000 here, and the repayment for 7,000 could be about 6,000 because of the current interest rate or even less. Now, you've got extra change here. You take that cash from the bond on property 2. I hope you're still with me, please. You take that cash from property 2. You go buy property 3. You have 700,000. You go buy property 3 cash. Now, you can still remain. Take that extra income that was coming from property 2, you are putting it there, Mosager. No problem, you bring it back to where it belongs, to where it comes from. And you pay it all here. Now, instead of paying 6,000 that was expected, you're paying 10,000 because that's your income. Let's say you've got some extra cash, you are able to pay the rates and taxes, anything else out of your pocket. So you are able to take the whole 10,000 rand income and throw it in there. Yes, you are not paying double the bond, but you are paying a bond which is 6,000 and 2/3 of it. So you are also, it will be quick. It might not be 6.5 years, but now here's a catch. After buying property 3, cash, property 3 gives you income. So you take that income from property 3. Remember, there you are still paying double again. Here you are paying 10,000. All the income you're paying it here. This is generally for a person who already has an income, you already have a livelihood, whether from your current employment, whether from your current business. You continue with your life as normal. You don't change your life now because you have the second or third property. Now, you are paying 10,000 here. Now, this property is giving you another 10,000. In fact, you bought a property with a higher price. You spend 700,000 on a 900,000 property, let's say. Now, this 900,000 property is giving you 13,000. You bought cash. Now you have 13,000. You take your 13,000, you are chasing property 2. You pay double property 2. If you want, you can pay it there as well, or you can take the whole amount here. Now, instead of paying 10,000, you are paying 23,000 on property 2. The bank only expected you to pay 6,000. 23,000, if I calculate well, is almost 4 times as what the bank expects you. So how quick do you think you're going to pay this property 2? Now you realize, no, I don't want to stop. I don't want to rest because this is starting to look very nice and lucrative. Then you go property 3. You take a bond on property 3. Remember you bought cash. There was a title deed in your hand. You then take a bond on property 3. The property you bought for 700 was worth 900. Now you are taking a 900,000 bond. Because most of this property is giving you 13,000, you can easily pay that bond, 900,000 that you are taking. And that bond, let's say 7,000 a month. Meaning just the income coming here, you can almost pay double that bond. You keep paying your 10,000 after you take the bond here on property 3, you keep paying your 10,000, you keep paying double there. And if you realize right now, you are only paying double only here from your pocket. In fact, you're only paying the second bond from it because this property is bringing you income in any case. So you're only still paying only that 9,000 extra from your pocket. That's it. That's all you're parting with every month. But you are growing exponentially now. Now you are here. You are paying what the property is giving, which is almost double the bond. It's a bond and a 2/3. So you don't need to go that much extra. Come here. You take a bond for the full 900,000, but this was 13,000 coming, and your bond for 900,000 is costing you 7,000. Now you are paying 13,000, which is almost double, and you've got 900,000 cash to buy property for. And you buy property for. The more the properties go, the more you ensure the income is way higher than the bond. We just apply the same principle we did on property 1. We are just multiplying. You are now property 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You are still only paying 9,000 extra. And by the way, time is going, yeah, I guess. So time is passing. So chances are you've already paid off this one as well. You can again, after you're done paying it off, or take a bond, you finance it all, you go buy another one cash. Now, you then can do what the guys in network marketing show, and they do. Most of us who have been part of it at some point, so you understand. Then instead of going that way, you take each property and you go downwards, like this. On each property. Then the sponsor said, now, in other words, you can then decide to then create portfolios from one property to build a portfolio. You can then create, so in a way, you can then decide property 2 is this type of property, and it will give birth to other similar type of properties. This is the type of property, let's say this one is student accommodation, this one is normal people renting the place, or this is just working people, you've given them rooms, this one is a commercial property. Then you can then decide to say, this one will give birth to other commercial properties, this will give birth to other renting rooms for people that are starting to work. This one you can say it will give birth to other student accommodations. And then you can grow your property portfolio in legs like that. I have said a handful. For this information, you will not get it anywhere else. That I can guarantee you. Because nobody wants you to know this, that are doing property, or the banks themselves, because then you grow exponentially. This is the information, ladies and gentlemen, that has been hidden, you've been deprived of. As unfortunately, I'm not going political, I'm setting the facts as a black child, because then this was not shared with you. And that is why I always said, somebody asked me a question in one of the presentations I was doing in another place outside South Africa, was that then, why are black South Africans crying because the land was stolen once? The land was not stolen many times. But then, how then did the whites do? What are you going to do? And it's simple. This is what was done. You only had one property. And this you can do, I've done it for people, man, this, you can do up to property 5 in less than 3 years, 2 years, 3 years less. So what happens then when it has been 40, 50 years from generation to generation? You will build a massive portfolio if you know this information from generation to generation. So yes, we do need the land. And now make your own land, take this, build a portfolio from the beginning all the way to the end. I hope this will liberate you financially. Thank you. Over to you, Temo, for Q&A.
Oh, thank you so much. You've really said a mouthful, and every week we keep learning indeed. I have noted everyone's hand that is up. Paul Silo, you are noted. I just would like to now start, but I think you might have answered this question just now when you were concluding, but I'm going to give it a chance anyway so that you may expound further. It's from Ngobile Makoba. Ngobile is asking, can this money generate interest while waiting for the property to be registered on my name? I would like for us to take it one question at a time. So let's please answer Ngobile for now, and then we'll go to the next question and the hand that is up.
All right. Yes, what normally happens, or what is expected or required, but it is not wrong if the lawyers don't do it. The money that you pay, you've paid the purchase price to the transferring attorney's account. What is there? Normally the attorneys then open an investment account with the bank on your behalf, normally you must also give consent for that. Remember, that money is yours, cannot be touched for whatever reason except to transfer the property, meaning it can only be touched when the property is already transferred, on the day of transfer of the property. From the time you pay to the attorney's account, it stays in one place if you don't give consent. However, the attorney will then ask you, should I invest this money for you? Put it in an interest-bearing investment account. Then once it is there, it will bear interest. If you did not request or the attorney did not ask you to do so, then if you are willing to give that permission, then it stays in their normal trust account. It does not. Then in that way, it does not really bear interest that can be calculated and given back to you, which you can do. You don't always have to pay the money to the attorney's account. You can keep the money where it is, maybe at your bank, and ask your bank to issue a guarantee to the transferring attorney to say, this is a guarantee, the money is there. Once the bank issues a guarantee, they freeze the money, meaning you cannot touch it up until it is requested by the attorney. However, when you do that, you lose the other benefits, your other negotiation benefits I spoke about. Because when it is cash in a transferring attorney's account, that means then whatever the seller requests and the attorney conveys the request to you can be effected, which means then you can request more. So you can get more benefits when it's sitting in the attorney's trust account than when it is sitting in your own financial institution with a guarantee being issued. I hope that answers that.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much for that answer. Ms. Makoba, are you satisfied, or would you like to have a follow-up question quickly? Okay, I can't see Ms. Makoba, but she's silent. I'm going to assume that she's satisfied. The next question comes from Me Meta. Me Meta is asking, are you saying that I can take a bond on a house that I've already bought cash? And we have a comment from Kakata. Kakata is saying, wow, this is brilliant. And we couldn't agree more.
Yes, you can take a bond on a property that you've already bought cash. You can take a bond on you can take another bond on the property. You can, just like, you can take so many bonds, yes, but to answer the question straightforward, yes, you can take a bond on a property that you've paid cash. You just go to the bank to apply, they will take your title deed. That's why I think title deeds are overrated. Because the moment you have a title deed, you can't take a bond, you can't do much, but you feel safe because I have a title deed. But safety does not grow income. Safety does not grow wealth. It is risk that grows income, that grows wealth. So unless, of course, like I said, there are certain properties that you can choose to decide this one, maybe it's a family home for your children, maybe it's anything that you don't want to take a risk on, then you can say this one, I'm keeping a title deed. And advisably, we would help you to protect that property as well in such a way that it can never be reached, almost like forever and ever, amen, unless you go and the people remaining decide what to do with it otherwise, which again, we will do a seminar on protecting this wealth that you are growing, because it can all vanish like this, but you can be able to protect it, that it does not vanish. I hope that answers you, Memita.
Memita, are you satisfied, Me? Okay, I don't see any response. Let me see in the questions. All right, there's nothing. So far, I'm going to take it that she's satisfied. Moving on, for the sake of time, we actually have 5 minutes left before we need to wrap up.
Okay.
The next question now comes from Mpo. Oh, Mpo had the hand up, and Mpo says he or she is satisfied. He or she was going to ask the same question that Meta asked, and Mpo is satisfied. Let me see. We don't have any hand that is up. Mr. Kotsokwani, you are excused, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Kiki Kotsokwani says he has another meeting. He's asking to be excused. Thank you so much. Let me see. We have a comment from Mafumani Tutu. Mafumani said, thank you so much. knowledge is power. And we could not agree more. Knowledge is indeed power, because just from today, I have learned so much. Okay, we have 4 minutes left, and I'm just going to allow for a quick question. Otherwise, Mr. Dlali, if you have any last comments to say while we are waiting for comments, please, this is your platform, sir.
All right. Thank you. I will, of course, while we're waiting for the next question. Now, the one thing that I would like us to be mindful of is that this has to be done in a. Right now, we are just showing exactly what you could do. Now, you need to be assisted in doing this and in doing it correctly. You need to be assisted because there are technicalities, techniques, benefits, many other things that you would not necessarily know by yourself when you get to do the transaction. Then you'd be making certain mistakes unnecessarily. So we can assist you at YDT Group. It is, as you heard at the beginning, the world's first one-stop property shop where we help you from the beginning. You're dealing with one person in one group of companies up until the time where everything is in your hands. We also help you to even manage those properties afterwards to ensure that that income does come in and it is done properly. In between, we get to advise you. You get to have access to us to ask us questions at currently no extra cost because you are already in our clientele books that we are working this part with you, are building this portfolio with you in a way that will help you. We check, we advise, this is the best place now you can buy now after we've spoken to you. Like I said, we do not come and say to you, this is the properties we are selling. Choose which one do you want to buy. That is not how we do it because we understand you've got a different reason, a different objective as the next person who's going to see the same list of properties that you are buying. And we also know that after you've looked at the properties from whichever website you've seen pictures, you know the suburbs, there are some things that you might not be aware of. It's whether of the area or of everything else. Therefore, we recommend a property. Property comes with us as a recommendation to say this is the property you need, this type of property, most probably this type of area. And we also check for you how much the bank, how much rather you qualify for. We pre-qualify as well to check, yes, the banks have interest in you. They could be able to talk business with you. And in the whole process, we walk the path, the journey with you up until the property is in your names. In certain instances, we also go to if perhaps you ended up not using our own in-house attorneys, NP attorneys, the seller chose another attorney because it's the seller's right to choose an attorney. We also do then also go with you to those appointments if you feel I'm not comfortable, I do not know this process, can I have somebody accompany me to those appointments or to the bond attorney's appointment? We help with many things on negotiation, on discounts, on legal fees. There is so many things that you get than you would when you've done it yourself. So even if you already own 2, 3, 4 properties, we can be able to get it better for you at any given time. So that is all that I wanted to say and for everybody to understand. And this is all done conveniently in one-stop shop, literally in all forms. So I think we can take one question if there is, and then we can wrap it up if there's no question.
We actually are out of time because the time is now 1:30, so I wouldn't want to take anyone's time further. However, we do encourage for those questions to still keep coming. Otherwise, those who were joining us for the hour and you have other things to do, the time is up. Please, you are welcome to leave. Otherwise, those who would like to hear further and engage with us, because I saw I think number 1937325 had their hand up. I'm not sure if I have that correctly. However, please unmute your mic and indicate to us if you have a question or not, or you can just write in the comment section. The other person who had their hand up was Imposter Silo, but we've already answered that and already indicated that they're satisfied. Otherwise, I'm going to give a chance to 1937325. If you have a question, the platform is yours.
Please help them by unmuting their mic so that they can feel free to talk. No, no problem. No, that is it.
No problem. All right, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. We really would love to thank you. Every week you keep coming, every week you keep joining us, and we are really, really thankful to you. We really wish you a great weekend ahead, and we are looking forward to seeing you again. Please continue inviting your people, keep telling them how much you have learned from these webinars and how you have changed your own investment portfolio. Remember to reach out to us. Remember to follow us on our social media pages. We are available on email at any point that you want to reach us at inquiries@ydtgroup.co.za. Okay, we have a question
Sure.
from Taboteki. So,
Okay, please don't forget the picture at the end. Please ask the question and then don't forget the picture at the end. That's what I was saying. Okay.
Okay, that is fine. Taboteki is asking, on the question of taking a bond on a property that is bought cash, will the bank be able to give me a bond against my property even if I'm under debt review? I hope that is clear. Otherwise, I can repeat it if you would like.
It is clear. No, the bank will not be able to give you a bond if you are under debt review, because a debt review is the banks are giving you money against the law that should I say that they subscribe to or that supervises them, or which is the National Credit Act. They report to the National Credit Regulator, and the National Credit Act clearly states that any person that is any form of debt management or debt restructuring cannot be able to access a home loan. So when you're under debt review, you cannot be able to access that bond. However, again, through IDT Financial Advisors, we can assist you to manage and possibly remove the debt review after we've assessed your financial status and get you back into the market where you can take a bond on your property. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Tab, for that question. We really appreciate it. We have a comment from Ziki Sampaza. He says, I thoroughly enjoyed this session. Thank you so much, YDT Group.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. I think we can close it.
Yes, at this stage, I really would like everyone to switch on your cameras. Let us take a photo together. We also have a comment from Mpo saying, thank you very much, Mr. Yabela. These sessions are very informative. Tabo is also satisfied. Tabo said, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's open up.
Okay, let's take a photo together, everyone. I'm just gonna allow a couple of seconds for everyone else to put on their videos. Or does this mean they're not giving me consent today?
They're not giving you consent, Lebala.
I see it. Okay, everyone. Let us say June. I'm gonna ask everyone to say June as I take a picture. 1, 2, 3, June.
June.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. You are welcome to leave at this stage. We appreciate you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.